Alrighty, so in this video, we're just going to see a couple of methods for strings. So these are string-specific methods that exist in it. Again, a method is just like a function that exists for a particular type of thing. So these are functions that you can do dot, like my string dot, and then any of these. It has to be a string for these to work though. So let's get straight into it. The documentation here for strings gives us an explanation of what all these do. I can give a tiny little example of it in the sandbox file over here, but this course isn't super about string manipulation, so I'll show it to you in case you want it, but I'm not going to go crazy making all sorts of cool examples for this stuff. All right, so first kind of pair that we've got here is upper and is lowercase. They're going to take in inside of the parentheses a string, which could be, a couple words, or it could even just be a single letter. And it's going to check if that entire string is uppercase. If the entire string is uppercase, I believe it'll return a true. If only one of them or more are not uppercase, it'll end up being false. Same thing for is lowercase, except, it's checking it'll be true if everything's lowercase. So let's run over here. We were playing around with indexing and looping on strings before over here. And so let's just test out is upper, right? So I can, actually I can get rid of all of this nonsense. I just got the word baby. And then I can just say, I can print word dot is upper. Oops, is upper. Oh, so sorry, right. You don't input the string into the parentheses. You do that string because it's a method it's a string method. That string dot is upper. And if it is uppercase, then we'll get a true. Otherwise, we'll get a false. So if I run this right here, we got a false because, well, this whole thing is an uppercase. If I capitalize just the B and then I try running it, still false because the entire thing needs to be capitalized. So I could try doing, all right, Bambi, I'm not sure if that's how you spell Bambi, all caps, and when I run it now, that's when we get true, and everything is uppercase. Similarly, I could do dot is lower, and then this will be false now, and as long as there's even just one, right, if I say, I don't know, Clarence, and I'm checking if Clarence is lower, even though there's a capital C and everything else is lowercase, because that one uppercase, we're still going to end up with a false. But if I make all of them lowercase, is lower will finally end up being true. So that's how is lower and is upper works. You could also say word at 0, and you can check using the indices individual parts, and maybe you want to loop over something to figure out when something is lowercase or uppercase, right? Because if I do word at 0 is lower, it's going to say true because, well, this C over here is lowercase. Even if I make like the L and the A capitalized, because I'm only checking a single part, I'm only checking the word at index 0, so just this C, that C is lowercase, so that's why it's returning true. So just another little example over there of that. Let's check the next bit of documentation over here. Similarly, we've got is digit and is alpha, and it's going to check to see, well, if it's made of purely numbers, then it is a digit. That's great. Similarly, if it's made with purely characters from the alphabet, so letters only, no periods, no numbers, no asterisks, no parentheses, that's when these will return true. So we can, oops, wrong one. We can do some examples over here, like maybe 19, I don't know, 19's fine. And then I can say word dot is digit, and since this is all digits, it should end up saying true. If I say dot is alpha, I can run this, and now it's false because, well, it's not all it's not all letters, right? Now, a nice thing that you could use from this is maybe you want to get input from the user, right? We could say if, well, rather I would app.getText input, maybe I'll make my word equal to that. And before we print word, we could say, oh, and this is where a while loop would be cool. We don't know while loops yet, though. All right. Word equals app.getText input. I could say if get text input, please input a number. And then I can check if the word dot is digit. Now we can print out, thank you for inputting a number. And then we can even print out the number that we got. And then we could say else, meaning that it wasn't a full digit. We could say, hey, I wanted a number. Or actually, even instead of doing it as a print there, we could get word is equal to app.getText input again. Say like, yeah, but actually, please put a number in. Yeah, but actually input a number this time. And so now doing this little thing, if I run this, we'll get our please input a number. And if I input, 65, then in the prints, it's going to say, hey, thanks for inputting a number, and it'll print 65. If they say, hey, please input a number, and this time I say, hello world, now, because it wasn't a digit, word.isDigit was not true, is false, we'll skip over to the else, and it's like, hey, but actually, like, input a number this time. And I'll be like, okay, I'll put in a 13. And then we didn't, what did we do in there? Oh, we just got the input. We don't do anything with it. So that's isDigit for you. Is_alpha is the same sort of thing. And then the last two are pretty cool. Upper and lower, what they'll do is they'll take a string and they're going to change it to be all lowercase or all uppercase. And I actually want to test this right over here. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if this edits the string or returns a new version of it, but the original string is unchanged. So let's try that. Sorry for keeping on coming over here. So let's say, let's just have a built-in one like, built-in like, hello there. And let's make it a capital T. And what I can do now is I'll start by printing the word. Then what I'll do is I will say new word is equal to word.lower. And now what I'm going to do is reprint, well, I'll print out the new word, and then I'll print out the old word. And so what this will do now is we're going to print hello there with the capital H, the capital T. We're going to do word.lower, and in new word, I should definitely be getting an all lowercase version of hello there. And we're also testing over here, hey, did the old word get edited, or did I just make a new one that's all lowercase? So let's try running it, see what ends up happening. Running it over here, and take a look. The first time we printed it, hello there, that's the original word. Here it is after lowercase, after lower, stored inside of new word, that's that print on line 7. But then notice, look, it doesn't actually edit the old word, so it actually takes the word, converts it to lowercase, stores that as, wherever you end up storing it, but it doesn't change the old one, which is pretty cool. This you could potentially use for if I wanted to update, and maybe I'll think about updating this phrase guesser game, though honestly I think we need to wait till unit 10 when we get lists to do this in any kind of nice way. But there might be a nice way to update it where it doesn't matter if the user types in an uppercase or a lowercase letter. We can convert everything to lowercase, check those against each other if they're lowercase, as all lowercase versions, and then kind of come back up from there. But that is definitely a use case for word.lower, and then upper it just does the opposite. It just converts it to upper, right? So if I switch this to uppercase now, we've got hello there is the original word, hello there all caps, and then the old word again, unchanged. So that's those string methods. Hopefully you can find some use for them. I might end up giving an example of one, but with lesson 10 stuff. I mean, I suppose you could do it easy enough with the phrases here where I could check. Actually, let's do that really quick. Let me just try the phrase dot lower, compare that with the phrase dot lower, and let's do a hotel with a capital and a California with a capital. And so this is our, what's it called? We had a program from before. Check out the phase guesser. It was 9.2.1, where we, phrase guesser rather, where we like did a little kind of Wheel of Fortune guessing game. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just changing over here. I check the phrases to see if it's exactly the same, and I'm going to convert it all lower. So it shouldn't matter if the user's typing in a phrase that's all uppercase or all lowercase, because we're going to combine, we're going to check them as two lowercases. And by the way, this is kind of neat. You don't actually need to store it in a new variable, right? Phrase.lower is going to have that turn into the lowercase version of itself right there for that moment without actually changing the phrase. And same thing with the phrase. These both are going to look like they're lower right here, but they're not going to be edited like we saw from the previous one. So if I run this right now, I'm going to do a guess phrase, and I'm just going to check Hotel California, and it's going to say, hey, you got it right, even though I typed in a lowercase h and a lowercase c, and a capital H and a capital C. I could even go crazy where, let me rerun this. I'll hit guess phrase, and I can all caps Hotel California, and it's going to be happy with that. And so that's a nice example of why you might want to use lower upper. Is this way I don't need to like really care about whether or not they're typing in lowercase or uppercase, or if my stuff is lowercase or uppercase. I can just convert the things temporarily to all be lowercase or all be uppercase, and then I can just check, hey, is it an H? I don't care upper or lower. Anyways, this video has been way too long for like something that's super boring and not interesting at all. But, you know, check the documentation. Hopefully this gave you a little examples of how these things work. And yeah, that's the string methods for you.